episode 100 of We Like the Blazers. Ryan, are you ready?
Let's go.
Yo, what is up? You have found We Like the Blazers. I am wearing Trailblazing, and I am Brandon Goldner, your host. The other host who's over there looking at you through the screen with his eyes, through his glasses, with a hat, with a hoodie, dancing around. His name is Ryan Whitledge. Ryan, what's up, man?
What's up, Goldner?
Ryan,
basketball season is upon us.
Brian Grant is here with us all right now, and Ryan, I am so pumped for so many reasons. Not just because the Blazers beat a team called Ratio Farm. I didn't know they were playing Elon Musk. Heyo! But because, Ryan, I don't know about you, but I've been sitting in my corner counting them up. Episode 1, episode 2. Actually, to be fair, you weren't here for most of those early episodes.
I was going to say, the first like 15, 20.
You know what? This podcast started with a wink and a dream. It started as I Like the Blazers, me all by my lonesome, and then Ryan came into the picture, and we had a sweet little baby child called We Like the Blazers. Ryan, which episode is this for you and I?
100, baby! 100th episode!
Yeah, that's my air horn.
Like 78th for me, but 100th episode!
100 episodes. That's amazing. I can't believe we've done 100 episodes. And also, by the way, so we're going to talk about that a lot, but really quick, Ryan, you and I both come into this relationship with previous relationships. What was your how many podcasts did you get a Blazer tag before y'all tagged out?
I think I think, and it's the we all tagged out thing. I think Ryan and Brandon called it quits at about 76.
Pretty good.
And we were doing that every Monday from the time that we drunkenly decided to start that podcast until we ended it. And that included Brandon moving to Vegas, Ryan Green moving like 3 different houses, developing 3 different studios. I think we ended up at 76 podcasts. The weirdest thing for me is that it's the Facebook memories thing, because 9 years ago, I was apparently podcasting, and there is zero way you could have convinced me without that Facebook proof that I have been yelling into a microphone about this franchise for 9 freaking years.
And now look at you, Ryan, your subordinates coming up to you saying, are you the Witty of We Like the Blazers? And you have to be like, yes. Okay,
no,
so by the way,
no. Okay, so backtrack. This is an off-air conversation. It's not subordinates of mine. So I had to go to bat for my company on a $100,000 bill, in which the senior vice president of the construction company that I am currently working for, that my company is currently employed for, in the middle of the argument, he goes, "Wait, are you Witty of We Like the Blazers?" And this is a guy who runs a country, or who's the senior VP of a countrywide construction company.
Can he sponsor us?
That apparently listens to the show.
Mr. McGillicuddy, open your wallet.
If it makes you feel any better, it apparently gave me negotiating points because he agreed with a lot of my Blazers takes.
See, that's what we do when We Like the Blazers, Ryan. We elevate each other so that when we're in negotiation with the senior vice president, that we got him by the balls. I'm glad that you had a successful negotiation. To Mr. McGillicuddy, salute to you, sir. I also had a podcast before coming
His
into this
name is not Mr. McGillicuddy, just throwing that out there. But you're also not wrong. It is a Mick name.
I'm not going to guess. I'm glad you didn't tell me. That's not the point. We're not here to call people out. We're here to call people in. I had a podcast too before this, Ryan. You may have heard of it. It's called The Trailcasters with Keith Feltner Smith. I do want to note, though, Ryan.
Did you not have one before that, though?
I also was a co-host of the Blazers Edge Weekend podcast with Chris Lucia. Go. Shout out to Chris
Don't sell
Lucia.
yourself short. Start at your beginnings. Start at your beginnings.
I think that one was more, Chris was kind enough to bring me on, and I learned about podcasting, but that was really his thing. And shout out to Chris, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. But Ryan, I did want to mention, with the Trailcasters 1.0, with me as one of the co-hosts, do you know how long I lasted as part of the Trailcasters 1.0 as one of the co-hosts? How many episodes?
Episode-wise?
Yep. The answer will feel familiar.
45.
The answer will feel even more familiar.
76.
Even more familiar.
100.
I think it was 101, and then that was the end. So, if we make it to 102, we've really made it, baby. Yes,
I'm busy for the next 6 months.
Fuck you. I've thought about this a lot. And like, what went wrong between the relationship with Keith and I? We're both great people. We both love podcasts. Ryan, I finally figured it out. And
we don't have enough time.
Oh no, I figured it out. And it also is why you and I do so well together. It's not that Keith isn't a great dude. It's not that I'm not a great dude. We're both great dudes. Ryan, the reason why Keith and I are too fucking similar. And here's the problem. Does anyone want to listen to two Brandons or two Keiths or two Ryans? No. And I think the reason why you and I did have a
podcast with another Ryan for a very long time.
But you two are not. You don't sound the same. You don't think the same. You don't talk. Keith and I were both like we're both a couple of Muppets, and we know it. You're like the elder. You're like the Muppet up in the rafters of the Opera House. One of the more austere.
Is it because I'm bald? Is it because I'm bald that you're trying to say that I'm the elderly man?
Yeah. And my hair transplants are taking quite well. I mean, honestly, it's because you and I play off each other so well, and because we're different. And for that, I say thank you to you, Ryan. Thank you to you, listeners. And thank you to anybody, including Mr. McGillicuddy, who may listen to this show either now or in the future. If you can use this show as a way to leverage yourself in high-pressure negotiations, then, Ryan, I think that we've done our job, and we're going to do it for hundreds of episodes more. Let's keep talking. Well, I mean, what else? I don't know. Why not? Let's get loose. It's the preseason. We can talk about Ratio Farm in a second. Ratio Farm. But from this podcast, what has been the most fulfilling or interesting part about it for you?
For me, I want to say when I got into podcasting, it was super interesting to me to be able to send an email to people that I have admired, people that I have looked up to, people whose writings I have respected.
I'm blushing.
This is
about me, right?
And then those bottom tier Blazers Edge editors that
I walked into it.
No, but those people, and just be like, hey, I have a podcast. I want to do this. I have told my stories of banquet things that restaurants have put on, but it sounds stupid, but it is literally the people you have met along the way, because there have been so many people, including yourself, Brandon, that I have met through the course of podcasting that would have never come into my life. People that I would have never engaged in conversation with, people that I never would have developed friendships with, that I have those things without podcasting. It sounds so stupid and so asinine and so self-serving, but
I don't think so. I don't think it sounds self-serving and asinine at all. I think that's very valid.
Yeah. In all honesty, you and I have very good relationships with Cassie Holdhall. You and I have very good relationships with Travis Demers. We have very good relationships with people that are inside or adjacent to the Blazers organization. And without
our
this
relationship
podcast,
would be better with Casey if we pronounce his name properly.
Shut up.
The
Fuck
problem
you.
is that I'm married to someone named Cassie.
I'm dying on this hill. I'm dying on this hill.
Let's
if you
ask
guys
him.
want to figure,
Dear Casey Holdall, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Casey or Cassie?
I don't care. I don't care.
He's cool. He doesn't give a shit. I just think it's funny. I think it's because I'm married to someone named Cassie. I think that's what's tripping you up.
Yeah. No, it's fine. And by the way,
I agree with you.
Birthday present incoming.
Oh, yes. Someone over here is turning old this year. I can't wait. Yeah, it's
my
really
wife
happening.
just apparently turned old. We went and rented a house. We adopted a new puppy. It's fantastic.
That's what happens. Midlife crisis, new dog.
But going back to podcasting, it sounds stupid. It sounds asinine. Anybody can crack a mic.
No, it
anybody
doesn't.
can talk into it. Anybody can put this stuff on the internet. But it is literally the relationships and the connections that you make along the way. And so for as long as you and I have been doing this, me starting off as a guest on a podcast that you titled I Like the Blazers, and then we went to the plural sense, and it is now We Like the Blazers, and here I am. This is a fantastic community, and I love everybody that I've gotten the chance to connect with over this last 8-9 years of me stupidly yelling my sports basketball takes into a microphone.
That got a little bit more sincere than I was prepared for today. I agree with you. I want to give my answer. It probably would have been something like that. And I think it's really, really cool. It does, like, basketball brings people together. And sports are not the most serious thing in the world, but lots of people like us and like lots of others enjoy sports. It's a cool way to bring people together. If I were not to say what you just said, the part that I have appreciated most about the podcast, it's a different way to relate to the team. Because when you are following the team, which I have been following this team for a very long time in varying levels of depth and interest and time commitment, it's a little bit different when you get behind the microphone and nowadays a camera and you talk about them. I feel a little bit of it, and we talked about this actually before the show started, about how are we going to approach this season and what is our commitment going to be to the Portland Trailblazers so that we can come on here and talk about, and we're not reporters, we're not statistical experts, we don't pretend to be, but so that we can come on here and have fun conversations and have guests who know more than us and be able to hold our own in those conversations. And that, to me, a different way to relate to the team that I have loved since I was a kid. That's, to me, what's been most interesting. And last thing I'll say, I'll get a little overly earnest. Just hearing the words come out of my mouth, since I was a kid. Ryan, do you know how many things I currently actively enjoy now as an adult that I also did when I was a child? Ice cream.
7?
Yeah, the ice cream, pizza. I mean, maybe some foods. My family, and then it's like basketball, and specifically the Blazers. Like, there's so much that I don't connect to anymore from my childhood self, and this is like one of the last things. Especially as I'm turning old, I'm thinking about that too, right? But isn't that interesting? I don't know.
So Brandon, you and I currently do this podcast. I want to enter into the Wayback Machine on our 100th episode.
Okay. Yep. That
Somebody has watched. No, you've watched Conan O'Brien before. I accept this. I want to enter the Wayback Machine, and I sent you a DM on Twitter, and I said, "Hey, I am a host of Blazer Tag Podcast. Would you like to come on to our podcast and talk about the Blazers?" And I invited you up to Ryan Green's studio, aka spare bedroom where he had some mics. and you said yes, and you walked into that den. I want to reflect on your impression on that and our first meeting and interaction in person. And also, like, for the podcast audience, why would you accept a stranger's invite to a house in any way, shape, or form?
Remind me, what year was that? That had to have been 2017?
That would have been either around 1819, I believe.
I'm just trying to. So, like, for people who might know,
if you don't mind me spilling some tea, I want to say that was right before your divorce was final.
I was about to say, it was final. Oh, interesting. So, okay. Yeah. For people who know me, like, I was previously married, and I do kind of the same way that I think COVID is a big, like, demarcator for people. I feel like there is like a pre 2018 Brandon, and then like a post mid 2018 Brandon, and actually even like a transition period in between, before I met Cassie. And actually, we're going to get real vulnerable on the show. One of the reasons why I ask about that, Ryan, is
as a previous divorced man, I am perfectly willing to get vulnerable here.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna crack open my what am I trying to, bottle of wine? I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. My analogy fails me. But Ryan, there was a time where I smoked an incredible amount of weed. So much weed every day.
Just all of the weed.
Just in all of the ways. Like, I mean, I self-medicated with cannabis from when I was like 19 until I was 34. And it actually wasn't, again, like, it wasn't until right after I met Cassie that I stopped and haven't smoked since. By the way, I'm not saying that smoking weed is bad. I think weed is completely fine. If that's what you want to do, that's totally fair.
But I was going to say, in the sense that I get from it's you're talking about it in the sense of a crutch.
And yes, and in the sense of it did impact my short-term memory. And the problem with short-term memory being impaired, if you don't create short-term memories, Ryan, guess what else you don't create? Long-term memories. So there's this, like, I don't know. I feel like I've actually only been at full capacity for the last little while, which is kind of cool. That's for me. Again, it affects people differently, and people's brain chemistry is different. All to say, let's go back to your question. My impression, why did I accept the DM from you? I kind of knew who you were from Twitter. Why did I feel safe going to someone's house? Because, you know, it's Oregon and Washington. And, you know, I mean, the chances of someone being so upset with me that they would lure me to a home and then gut me like a fish and sell my organs on eBay is pretty low.
Long-term ploy.
It's low, but not zero. But I took that risk. Yeah, I remember being pretty scared because I had never done a audio thing in person before. I think it's a little easier when you're behind the screen. I can put my hands down here and kind of twiddle my thumbs. I can grab a thing of water. But when you're in person with other people,
grab a knife.
Yeah, could do. You feel a little bit more vulnerable, maybe. Like, and also, like, I didn't know you, but I wanted to impress you. That kind of thing too. I think for people who I didn't know. I remember though that, like, Green had like the topics up on a screen, which was helpful.
we had for what we were doing at the time, we had way more We had way more technology than we needed to. So because of the fact that he had previously been in bands, he had done music, he had all the high-tech microphones. He also had gone through like a family movie night thing where like he had projectors, he had screens, like it was one of those things where it's just like I wandered bass backwards into like one of the most high-end productions of a podcast where we had no clue what we were doing. And so I remember we had you down there and you had commented like, oh, this is a much better setup, because it was in his secondary guest room. So we had chairs, it was all spread out. We had individual mics, all that stuff. You made a comment when you were down there. We had Danny Meringue and he was like, oh my gosh, this is a great fucking home studio setup. I thought I was coming down to like a garage and we're all going to scream into one microphone. We had Chad Dewing, we had Travis Demers, like everybody local that we could get down there had like come down to his house. And it was weird that everybody had accepted that, but it was also like one of those things where it's like when one domino fell, the rest of the dominoes fell. And what I will tell you is that because you had a name in the Blazers community through your previous stuff that you had done at Blazers Edge, you were...
In quote, I'm quoting quotes.
Correct. But by the way, I am going to let you know that once you agreed and once you came down there, I used your name to sell those future people. Because you had your name out
royalties?
there.
I needed to be cutting me a check immediately.
If I had gotten paid, that would have been a miracle, because the best we ever got was that Manscaped sent us one package that me, Ryan Green, and Brandon watched
all
a
had
Blazer
shaving
game
party together in the bathroom. Gross.
Yes and no. We'll neither confirm nor deny. But it was literally, we were calling players on who would make the last three-pointer, and whoever made the last three-pointer in the game got the entire Manscaped package thing that they sent us. And that was the only endorsement I have ever gotten. But again, I'm backtracking. What I will say is that you were the first quote-unquote name brand person that we had on our podcast that we used to sell appearances for everybody else. You got us Cassie. You got us
Casey.
You got us Zach.
I swear,
sorry,
my brother.
You got us Casey. You got us Zach Lowe. You got us Henry Abbott. It was because the work that you did. And we happened to have a conversation on Twitter, and you happened to decide to come up to his place in his studio and talk to us lowly little drunken Blazer fans at the time, which was the entire premise of our podcast. You got our foot in the door. And then from there, we went down to Summer League and we met more people and we made more connections. And here I am to this day now doing a podcast with you where we don't chase fame. We don't chase connections. We love it. We like fame. We like connections. No, but we do this for the love of it. We do this to have a conversation. We invite you into, all of you listeners, we invite you into me and Brandon's conversation about this team. We're not going to agree. We're going to debate. We're going to have our disagreements, but it's the joy of listening to this. This isn't scripted. This is just natural conversation about our favorite fucking sports team. I
would want to work with our writers. If this were scripted, I would need to have a conversation with them.
They'd
all got to come up with better material. By the way, Ryan, so how have you never told me that? Kind of flattering and a little overwhelming and pretty cool. Thank you for sharing that. It's actually really, really cool and incredible. By the way, Zoom is saying we have 6 minutes. Zoom is now on a cooldown, Ryan. We can't jump out and jump back in. So we have to wrap this up somehow quickly. I want to let you have the last word about the 100th episode, though. One word.
Did you think we'd get here?
That's one word. Go ahead.
Wow.
Whoa. We're going to say, did you think it would last this long? No. And also, like, I want to repeat my gratitude to you and to me, but to you and also to Rogue Media and to the Blazers Edge family podcast, of which we are a part. Because I like that we're doing something, we're reaching different people now. Like, we're starting to get people listening to our show who don't even follow the Blazers and they tune in, and that's a little weird and kind of cool. But Ryan, happy 100th. I can't wait for the next 100. If we get to 1,000, one of us,
buddy.
One of us is taking our pants off. Anyway, 5 minutes to go. I need to talk about Ratio Farm. That was a joke, everybody. Please don't sue me. Ratio Farm,
I will,
Ryan.
By the way, I'll take my pants off at 200.
You got to help your standards, bro. The Blazers played.
I will whore myself out in any way, shape, or form.
No, you got to have some dignity. The Blazers.
No.
They have been playing preseason. They are, in fact, 2-1, which means, Ryan, Chauncey Billups has won a preseason game. Congratulations to Coach Billups.
Only one, because the first one they won was when he had his awesome suit coat.
Congratulations to Nate Bjorkgren for getting the Blazers their first preseason win since 2020 against an NBA team, since 2020. But now Chauncey hold on a second. Record scratch, Ratio Farm, that's not an NBA team. Chauncey Billups has 0 preseason wins against an NBA team in his entire head coaching tenure.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. I retract my congratulations.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter?
Matters. Because the preseason is right before the season, which is just before the postseason. That's why.
Thank you for describing
Use your brain, McFly.
You just described the word pre. I don't care.
Prefontaine. Pre-school is very important for kids before you go to school. There's another one that's coming to mind.
I'm sorry. Backtrack. Own the Prefontaine comment. Explain that one.
He's fast. He runs. Ryan, we have 3.5 minutes left. We can't be doing this much banter. But the Blazers, anyway, Chauncey Billups is still winless against NBA teams in the preseason, but the Blazers did beat.
Who cares? Fire. Okay. Let them lose all the games this year and then fire.
We got 3 minutes. All right. Ratio Farm. Why is that the name? It's a team from Germany. There were some scouts there watching a couple of their players. We're looking at the box score. I will admit I did not watch this game, but I don't have to watch the game to look at Scooty Rudy Henderson going 10 for 14, getting 23 points, 5 boards, 6 assists. Ryan, how many turnovers? Guess. Not a single turnover. I don't care if it's against Ratio Farm or Twitter ban.
I love the
Facebook
fact
message.
That you censored yourself.
Don't you like that? It's like the thing in the fake drive-through speaker cutting out thing. I'm not very good at that, but I'd like to be someday. But with our remaining 2 minutes, and we also have to do the outro, does this give you any, hope for Scoot Henderson? No, you're shaking your head.
The preseason means shit. But if you want to hang out with We Like the Blazers over the course of this entire Blazers season, allegedly Brandon has ordered me an antenna. We'll see if it shows up. I have also allegedly ordered me an antenna. We'll see if it shows up.
I hope you get two.
Go ahead, hang out with us at Like the Blazers on Twitter/X. Go ahead and email us at weliktheblazers.com. Thank you, Rogue Media. Thank you, Blazers Edge, for sponsoring this podcast. Hang out with us all season. We will be here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us over 100 episodes. If you've been with us all along, I disagree with analytics. Do your own research.
Shout out to Trailblazing. How dare you?
Also, I will say, get out the vote. It is election season. If you are not registered, check with your state. You are coming up in your deadlines. Vote. But Brandon, let's go Blazers.
Go Blazers. See you next time.